All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the second ever Pro Series ServeManager webinar. Our last one was on job management and workflow. This one is going to be on inviting and collaborating both process servers and clients, and we're particularly excited about this one because it highlights some of the new features that we've launched over the last week or so, and it also might give you some possible workflow uh, improvements, ideas. So that is what this one is going to be about, and you will have some opportunities at the end to ask some questions, and even if it's not related to the content on the webinar, we'll kind of open it up at the end for questions with the development team here. But before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about the purpose of the Pro Series webinars. They're really an extension of our customer service and the consulting that you get when you subscribe to our software. We feel support and service sets us apart from other software companies in addition to our easy-to-use, clean interface. On this particular Pro Series, we have quite a outstanding turnout. We have nearly 90 registered on the last one. We had nearly 50 or over 50 registered, and it's exciting for us because it means that this is working from a perspective of helping educate our clients on the new features that we're constantly developing and making available, and we think it really helps to provide some insight on how the features are intended to be used. It's also possible that we'll uncover some things that you weren't aware of that the software can do. In addition, as I said before, it could provide some ideas on how how you might be able to tweak your workflow to add some efficiencies to your business. But on this webinar, we have a handful of folks from our development team. I am Trent Carlisle. I am one of the co-founders of ServeNow, and along with me today is Jeremy Church, Chad Jolly, and Nathan Bennis, all of the development team. We're going to open it up at the end, like I said, to have kind of a Q&A, and the developers will participate in that. Jeremy will be leading us through the actual nuts and bolts of the webinar today, so I'm going to hand it over to him here in a little bit. But on this webinar, we're going to cover collaboration only. We will answer any other questions that you have on other features at the end. We're going to talk about the benefits of collaboration, and we're going to talk about the free accounts that we do have available for clients and your contractors, and what kind of rules are associated with that. Of course, we'll talk about how to invite them and what it means to collaborate. So during the webinar, everyone is going to be muted. So if you have questions to ask, you're going to ask those questions in the questions box in the GoToWebinar control panel. It says here that this webinar is going to be about 20 minutes. That's what the last one was. I'm guessing that this one will be closer to probably 30, 35 of content, and then we'll stay on as long as need be, within reason, to answer any questions that you might have. So keep that in mind when you have questions about certain features, and we'll probably let those questions queue up, and we'll wait until the QA session at the end. If there's any questions I can answer along the way, just via text back to you, I will do that as well. So one thing about collaboration that we feel is a benefit is we feel like it can help you get more clients, and we feel like you're going to have happier clients as well. We're hearing a lot that clients are requiring more and more from their process servers, communication, transparency, and even if it's not mandated by the state or a governing entity, process servers are starting to be asked for things like GPS data on attempts. We know a number of process serving companies that are actually being asked for audits as well. They'll randomly audit a select series of jobs. And this is especially true when you're dealing with clients that might be in the collection or the financial sectors. By utilizing all that ServeManager has to offer from a collaboration standpoint, we feel like you can really run an efficient business. ServeManager allows for a dispatcher, for lack of a better term, or a business owner to communicate with multiple process servers in the field, getting those updates from those process servers, whether a paper has been served, you need a new address, whatever might be going on with a particular job. And then the person in the office can communicate that information back to the clients and quickly either update them that papers have been served, or get additional information that might be required, i.e. a new address, or more information on the survey, etc. So the speed and the efficiency that this offers really can provide an excellent customer service experience, and we've seen this firsthand recently, and a lot of the companies using our software are really adopting this workflow. So from a perspective of onboarding more clients and bringing, selling more clients, touting this efficiency really can set you apart from the competition. Being able to update your clients in real time, and showing them that the communication efficiencies are going to help them get paper served quicker, and also get them information faster, rather than having to wait several days or a week or more for that process server to come back into the office with a stack of field sheets that they've had for quite some time. So here's just a little diagram that we put together. It's pretty straightforward as far as what this might look like from a communication standpoint. As I said, it's just a little visual between how the office staff can sit between the servers and the clients. If you use our mobile app, you'll know that it's a web interface that works with all modern smartphones. Attempts and notes will come back from the field to the office manager or dispatcher, or whatever that position is called, into their ServeManager account. They then have the ability to communicate as much or as little information back to the clients as they choose. And as I said before, this is extremely valuable in letting the clients know when a job has been done or more information is required. And it works the other way too. You can get that information back to the server in the field, pretty quickly if you're communicating with both of your clients and your process servers in this way. Just going over some of the additional benefits of collaboration and the way that it's set up in ServeManager. You can eliminate duplicate data entry when clients and contractors are updating jobs for you. The accuracy of data is typically better with fewer points of failure. Real-time service updates from the field, as we mentioned before. Clients and contractors can immediately get the documents they need anytime from anywhere. They have the ability to log in 24/7. Everything's in one place, all the communication, all the notes. No need to dig through emails and find service documents. The elimination on your end, the elimination of the phone calls and the updates from clients who need status is a major benefit. Giving clients the ability to log in, we feel, sets you apart from competitors. We know that other software applications have this, but we feel like the information that you're able to provide them is much deeper. Some clients may want or expect this feature. Use this to your advantage, and market this as a benefit. Market this as a benefit of your technology. And I think happier clients are going to lead to client retention, and that's definitely one thing that we have in mind with with the whole notion of client collaboration. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Jeremy Church. He's going to go over a couple more slides, and then we're going to dig into the software interface itself, and we're going to show you some of the screens and how to do some things here. So I will hand you to Jeremy. One moment.
Thanks, Trent. All right, so inviting companies and individuals. So you can invite clients like law firms, collection agencies, and you can invite individuals like a pro se client or something like that. You can also invite contractors, so process servers that you contract papers out to, or even a third-party, process serving company. You can invite them to a free account, and their free account is going to have a limited set of features. So let's take a look at those really quick. So the free account for clients, again, that's law firms, collection agencies, or pro se. These are the features they'll have. So they can view the service status, they can view service attempts, they can download and print affidavits or other documents that you have on the job. They'll be able to send emails through ServeManager. So they'll be able to communicate with you by sending emails out, just like you can send them emails through the system. And clients can actually create jobs too. So we're working with a lot of servers who are telling us now that their clients are starting to enter the jobs for them. So if you can, get your client to enter the information for you, that'll save you that data entry, and the onus is kind of on them to enter those jobs and make sure that data is correct. And then the other thing is clients can add employees to their account. So at the law firm, they're going to be able to add all of their paralegals or whoever they want logging in and looking at ServeManager and the attempts that you're recording. Let's take a look at the free account for contractors. So if you're inviting a process server, they're going to be able to receive jobs. They can record service attempts, which includes saving GPS from the mobile site. So if they're out in the field, they're going to log in ServeManager and they can record those attempts right out in the field with the GPS data. Third-party process servers can also edit, print, and email the affidavit. So they can email you the affidavit, or they can edit and print it. They can apply a digital signature to it, and of course they can share it to you. And then they can also send emails to you in the system. So let's go ahead now and take a look at the invitation process. So let me find that. Okay. So there's a couple of requirements to be able to invite a company or an individual. First, you need to make sure that that company has a primary contact. So when you create the company, make sure they have a contact, set them as the primary contact, and make sure they have an email address. That's the only way we can send them the invitation. The other requirement right now is that you create at least one job for that company. That's so that when they log into the system, they're going to receive the invitation, and when they log in, they'll have at least one job to look at. They won't be lost when they get in there. So this is the invitation screen here. You click on Invite and Collaborate, and you get this dialog box. The first thing to notice up here is that notification that says just need email notifications. So if the only thing you need to do is email your client updates about the status of a job, you might not need to invite them. If they don't need to log in and the only thing they want is an email update, letting them know the papers were served or that kind of thing, definitely consider whether or not you need to invite them into the system. Inviting a client or a process server in the system can be really powerful, but if they're not ready to use it, then it might just be more confusing for all parties involved. So make sure it's kind of pick and choose which companies you're going to be inviting in the system, because you don't want to cause that confusion for your client. So once you've decided you're going to invite someone, right here, then you'll choose whether you're inviting a law firm or whether you're inviting a process server. And basically, once you make that selection, it just helps us determine what sort of account we're going to set up for them when they register. So if you choose a law firm, they're going to have those features that I mentioned a minute ago. If you choose a process server, they're going to be signing up for an account where they get the proper features for a contract process server. So once you select one, let's say we invited our law firm, they're going to receive an email, and it looks basically like this. It tells them it's got your name and your company, tells them you're inviting them to collaborate on jobs. They click on that link, and then they register for their own account. So here's what they're going to be registering for. So again, they click on the link, and it gives them your name, your company, and it says that you want to collaborate on jobs. So all they have to do is fill out these fields and create their own free account. Okay, so I didn't want to go through that whole process. So I just showed you some screenshots here. Now I'm going to go ahead and jump into some real accounts. So, okay, so here is my process serving account. This is ServeManager process servers. And I've created a job already for my law firm, and the law firm in this case is the Logical Law Firm. So let's search for the job, and I'm going to search by client name, so I'm just going to type Logical here. Okay, so there's that job I created for my client. I'm going to click on that job, and now we're viewing the job. So let's also open up another window, and I'm going to do a split view here. Let me organize this real quick. Okay, so we've got a split view here. On the left-hand side is the client. So on the left, I'm logged in another browser as the client, and that's the Logical Law Firm on the left. I'm going to click on the job that was sent to me or entered on my behalf. Okay, so we've got both these jobs open. The client law firm is on the left-hand side, and my process serving company is on the right-hand side. So you'll notice they look very similar, except on the left-hand side, they don't see any service attempts or they don't see the affidavit. They don't see any of that yet, and that's because I haven't shared it with them yet, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. I know it's kind of small, and I'll zoom in when I'm typing, but you'll get the point as we're working through this. So let's zoom back in here on the process serving company. So up top, you can see there's the Logical Law Firm. That's the client. And in this case, I'm actually forwarding the papers as well. So I invited a process server, the Colorado process servers, and Gene Harris is going to be serving these papers. He's a contractor. So first thing I'm going to do is enter a note here. And for the moment, let's imagine the service attempts aren't here and the affidavit's not there. So Gene is out working on this, and I'm just entering a note. And let's say we've got the wrong due date. The attorney called us. Okay, so the attorney called and said the serve is actually due today. I don't need to share that information with the client. They're the ones that pass that along to me. So here, where it says visible to, right now it's going to show up for the client and the server. I'm actually going to change this to the server only. And then down here in the email section, I'm going to uncheck my client and I'll check the process server. So we've got our note up top here. That's going to get sent as an email. And then here it says this is only going to be visible to the process server when they log in. And here I'm emailing Gene this note. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. So you'll notice it just saved that to the job. And if I go back over here on the law firm side, I'm going to refresh their page, and the note does not appear there. So I'm not going to open a third window because that would get really confusing, but if I was to log in as the process server, Gene Harris right now, they would actually see that note on this job, and they also received an email as well. So Gene was out, he served these papers, he logged these attempts, and he shared them with me. So let's go ahead. I'm going to review these service attempts. So I can click in. I can see this one was a bad address. Great. I can go ahead and just share this with the client. So I'm going to click on Share. Right now it's not visible to anyone, but now I'm going to go ahead and set the client. And the client is checked here. Now I'm going to go ahead and update that. So that just shared it with the client. Let's go back over to our client browser over here. I'm going to refresh, and you'll notice there's the service attempt. So now the client can log in and see that service attempt, and I also sent them an email when I shared it as well. Let's go back to the job. So you'll notice I didn't have to print a field sheet or anything. Gene logged into the system. he was out serving those papers, and he can log the attempt on his mobile device, or maybe he just went ahead and recorded the service attempt after he got home on his computer. But I didn't have to print a field sheet. I didn't have to get him that field sheet. He didn't have to write anything down for me to come back later and enter that information. He just entered it right into the system, and I was able to review it before I shared it with the client. So here's another attempt. The papers were actually served here, so I'm just going to go ahead and share that one right from here. I'm going to change this to the client so the client can see it on the job. They are checked here, so they're going to receive an email as well. I'm going to update that. Come back over to the client side on the left over here, and I'll refresh that browser. There we go. So the client got an email, and now they can see that the papers were served right here. So you can kind of see as things come into you, you can decide whether or not you're going to share them, and then your client can log in and see that information. Okay, so back to the right-hand side. Gene also created the affidavit. Let's take a look at that affidavit here. So I'm going to click on that and open the affidavit, and now we can just review that real quick. Looks like Gene even applied his digital signature. So Gene has already signed this in the system. Now, in most cases, he's probably signed an original copy as well and dropped it in the mail, and it's on its way to me. But at least I've got a digital signature here. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. And again, right here, I can click on Share and change this so that the client can see that. My client is already checked. I could send him a message. I could update the message there. And then I'll just go ahead and update that. And when I go back to the left-hand side, you'll notice now the client has that affidavit. So I click on that as the client, and there you go. So now our client got that affidavit that quickly. Gene was out in the field, logged it, created an affidavit, applied his digital signature. I saw that. I shared it back to my client. They've already got the papers. So that's the power of sharing it, especially if you're sharing it with your client and with a process server who maybe you forwarded the papers to, or even if you've got an employee. The same principles here apply to that workflow as well. So there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of apply this principle of sharing and collaborating. Hopefully I didn't forget any detail there, but for now I think I covered everything I wanted to go over. So I'll probably go ahead and see if we've got any questions, or if there was anything Trent wanted to add there. I guess we'll probably look at the slides real quick. Yeah, let me we're sharing one mic, so let me get the mic back over to Trent now.
Okay, yeah, as Jeremy said, if you have more, we've had a couple questions that have rolled through in the questions box through the GoToWebinar widget there. So if you have more questions, feel free to shoot those over, and we'll make sure we get those answered. Just as a quick note, we'll be emailing this link to all attendees, but you can pretty much see the outline of the presentation if you go to servemanager.com/pages/collaborate. So either jot that down, and it'll give you kind of a high-level overview of what we talked about, what Jeremy just talked about. But like I said, we'll be emailing this out as well. There will be future Pro Series, so definitely stay tuned. We do a pretty good job of emailing these out to all of our users, but if you want to stay abreast of those, you can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Jeremy, we do have a couple questions that rolled through. So one is in relation to the kind of the walkthrough that you just gave, and that is Can you show us how clients enter new jobs? So I'll hand it back over to you. We have some other questions that are not specifically related to the collaboration. We'll get to those towards the end. And I will hand it back over to Jeremy right now, and he'll walk us through that. And Jeremy, I'll let you know if there's any other questions that are relevant to collaboration, and shout those out to you as well.
All right. Okay, so one more time. Can you repeat that for me, Trent?
Yep. Can you show us how clients enter new jobs?
Okay, yeah, so clients entering new jobs. Okay, so on the left-hand side over here, that's our law firm. I'm going to go ahead and expand that window. I'll click on the jobs menu here on the left-hand side. And you can see, so the client is basically looking at the same thing you are. I'll point out over here on the left-hand side, they've got the jobs menu, the court cases menu, a companies menu. Now you'll notice they're missing the accounting menu, so they don't have any accounting features in there. But they can still do a lot of things here. And again, they're looking at pretty much the same interface that you're looking at. So over here, the same way you create new jobs, they would just click on new job, and then as the client, they don't see that first section that says client. They are the client. So here they enter your company name. In this case, it would be ServeManager, and they would select you. Then they would just go ahead and fill out the rest of the information here. It looks exactly like the new job form that you fill out, and I won't fill out all this information, but same exact thing. They can upload the documents for you right here. They can upload attachments, and then they can save that job. When they save that job, you're going to receive an email, and it's going to let you know that you have a new job. So yeah, great question. I'll probably just relay the questions.
Yeah, no, I think some of these are open more for team discussion, but this specific one is, can you show how the GPS feature works? So if you're set up to do mobile.
Yeah, let me. So the question was, can you show us how GPS works? So I'm going to open a new tab here, and I'll expand that window. Let me do one thing real quick. I wasn't quite ready, but give me 1 second. Okay, so this will give you a better sense of our mobile site. Okay, so on your mobile phone, when you log in, it'll automatically direct you to the mobile site. The mobile site is, again, no app to download. You just open your browser and log into ServeManager. So that's pretty handy. The mobile site is pretty straightforward. It's a list of your open jobs, and here there's a search field. So I'm going to search for a recipient, and then I'll select that job. So logging the GPS information, all you need to do is click on the blue attempt button here at the top right, and your phone is going to ask you if you want to share your location with this website, and you want to make sure you answer yes or okay. And then you're going to get a map, and that map's going to have 2 pins. One of them is the service address that's selected above, and the other one is your current GPS location. If you want to see those details, you can just expand that GPS data right there. So currently, it just got your GPS data from your carrier, and it's just cached or saved locally on your phone at the moment. It hasn't been submitted to ServeManager yet. At this point, you would continue filling out this form. It's just like the desktop version. You select the service type, you can edit the recipient, fill out a description of the attempt. You can even email your client while you're out in the field, and then you would save the attempt, and that saves it to ServeManager, and that's when it records all the GPS information. So that's a great question.